to tonight's episode of Too Funny Feedback Mike. My name is Tom, and co-hosting with me tonight, as always, is Lisa. Tonight, each of our comedians will be performing a 5-minute set. If you want to keep track of how much time is left, my comedians, I will be turning into a clock as soon as you start your set, and it will count down, and that is how much time you have left in your set. If you need a verbal cue, just let me or Lisa know in the private chat, and we will whisper sweetly, 1 minute, when you have 1 minute left. That being said, after your set, Lisa and I will be giving about 5 minutes of feedback between the two of us before moving on to the next comedian. Lisa's feedback will focus on performance. My notes will focus on writing. While we invite discussion during your allotted time, if we don't have the time to address your concerns, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to go into more depth. To the audience, keep in mind as we get started that our intention is to help facilitate the growth of the comedians who come to us with varying levels of experience. Also, comedy is subjective, so you may not agree with us, and that's okay. We are also learning how to give good feedback. But additionally, if you enjoy the show and want to support the stream, please consider making a donation of any size or following us at districtcomedy.io. With that being said, let's get this party started. Please welcome our first comedian this evening. He was here last week. He was a good time. Brian Sargis. Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you. I've been taking some time off to really focus on my obesity. It really helps to have all day to eat instead of just an occasional snack. The snacks between the standard 10 meals are not cutting it. I have some quirks due to my professional and personal obligations. I've spent a large time isolated, sometimes in very remote places. I've watched a lot of TV during this time. And for some reason, we got really into stuff about the Donner Party. That really resonated with me and my party. That was until it just resonated with me eventually. My quirk is that I'm funny, but not on purpose. People tell me I'm funny, but not when I'm trying to be funny. Also, people think I'm a cocaine person, but I'm not. I just have ADHD and a weak bladder. So I go to the bathroom a lot. So people think I'm going to the bathroom and snorting cocaine and then coming out and talking real fast. And then they ask me if I have any cocaine. This happens a lot. In fact, this keeps happening so much that every time I move, about 6 months into my move, I hear one of my friends say, Brian is the only person I like to smoke cocaine rocks with. And I'm like, I didn't know you guys were smoking cocaine rocks. I just thought you were going to the bathroom like me because you had a small bladder. Another sign is when I'm dating a girl and her name is Crystal Metheny. Then I really know it's time to move on. I recently moved back to Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C. area after a few decades. Noticed that people are really into that Walgreens W. The W where everyone has on their hats, the curly W. You know what I'm talking about? Like on their shirts and stuff. Well, one day my friend had it tattooed on his chest. And I'm like, dude, what is that W? And he's like, you idiot. It's the Nationals. The W for the Nationals. It's their national symbol. He's like, where have you been all this time, on a deserted island? And I was like, kind of, yeah, I really have been. Real quick, who the F is Brandon, and where do you all want him to go? Is he the kid that's been hanging out by my lawn? And by lawn, I mean the 7-Eleven dumpster next to my tent? Do you all ever set up a... My grandfather built my house. It's basically held up by load-bearing ghosts. I'm pretty sure the spirits of ancestors power the house. People that have stayed at my house say it's haunted. Sometimes I talk to these ghosts. I'm constantly trying to get them to wash the dishes. I just realized that the ghosts of my grandparents and granduncles have been watching me do unspeakable things to my body. I remember coming back to the mainland after being gone for a while and being like, what the hell are people smoking out of, those e-cigs? I was like, I need to get me some of them e-cigs. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure them out until I realized you have to tape the button down so it doesn't turn off when you put it up your butt.
Oh.
They should put directions on those things. And those people with the pen in their mouths, they are gross. And still, in fact, I think there's a huge problem with this vaping thing. You know, people walk around with those pens in their mouths, but I tell them they don't listen. I owned my own business before I got into comedy. Being your own boss is great, except if your business is a complete failure. Then it's just a place to sober up. Apparently, it's not a great idea to open up a beeper store during a pandemic in a mall. Okay, so for some of your youngins, a beeper is like an iPod, and that only gets text messages. And iPods are like cell phones that only have music. And cell phones are what you all use to make the TikTok videos and are probably looking at right now. So before I go, I'd like you all to do me a favor and just note the time, because later on I'm going to be using you guys for my aloe vera. Thanks. Thanks for my time.
Woo, 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 woo. Give it up for Brian Margus, everybody. All right. One moment. This is going to be, of course, as always, a super smooth transition like we are known for here. But I'm going to jump in and go first with some of the feedback. I thought like it was strong. A lot of the material we had seen last week. I'm glad that you kind of brought it back, and because I have more thoughts on it. I think that, you know, I don't want to repeat too much of the stuff that I said last time. Like, you know already that like I thought that the way you start off is pretty strong as far as like kind of doing a little bit of the self-deprecation to like get people connected with you. That's still fine. I think that like what I want to see you go into more is just like focusing more on like one topic or one premise and like expanding on it. Because like you said something really funny and it was kind of a transition into another bit, but you said the like how like people think you're funny when you're not trying to be funny. And I think that that is kind of like, that's the core of the story with your comedy that I want to hear more about. I want to hear more about that and why that is. And I know that you use it to transition to like the people think that like you're on drugs when you're not. But nonetheless, I think that is like the interesting part. And then I think something that if you want to like stay with the whole like people always think you're on drugs bit, I think my ideas are like twofold right now, where like I kind of like question why those people think you're on drugs for going to the bathroom a lot versus like having IBS. So like maybe that's a direction you could go with it. Or alternatively, I think I would just like to hear more about what are the traits that you have that like parallel that of somebody who is on cocaine. Just a little bit more to kind of like set that foundation, make that analogy really clear. Then after that, I really like the whole like haunting kitchen bit and like the ghost watching you do unspeakable things to your body. I thought that was fun. And then the other one that you kind of touched on that I think would be like a good place for you to expand would be the kind of work culture stuff. You mentioned the like it just being like a good place to sober up if it's a failing business. Like either tell me more about like your life of work or your opinions on work. And then I think that between those 2-3 topics, you have a really strong foundation. The main thing being like, if you take anything, overview of the notes I've given you, it's just like pick 2 or 3 topics and see how much you can mine each of those. And then I think that like keeping it on relatively the same subject the whole time is going to make it easier for your audience to like follow you and be with you for that whole journey. But that's it from me. And I'm going to give it to Lisa.
Wait, am I back? Here we go. Hi, Brian. Thanks for that. So glad you're back. And I enjoyed a lot of this. I thought there were a lot of fun things in here. So my notes were mostly like it's the performance based, and I want to tie on to what Tom is saying, because I think you focusing on just a couple of 2 or 3 different sort of subjects and going into that. And I think you have enough material there to really do that. I think that that's gonna actually be helpful for the notes I have for you if you find them helpful. So I find like you come right in, and I love that first joke. I've been focusing on my obesity, but it was like sort of right in there. Take a moment to say hey and like hi, and if you like I feel like it's still a good start, but I think there was like a slight moment missed of like just saying, hey, how are you? It's great to be here, or whatever you want to do, but taking a moment to be present and say hello and then jump into that, if that makes any sense. Because it got right to it, which was great, but I was kind of like, oh, hey, giving me a moment to sort of see you for a second. And I would say that I was writing, I wrote a bunch of reading my own notes. I would say, what else? Who else is the TV? I've been watching a lot of TV, you said. So this is a moment where you can connect with the audience, because I feel like you have things we can really relate to, but I feel like the one major overall note I would have is just making it more like a conversation. Friends, like giving, even if you're not necessarily getting a ton back, being like, someone else has watched TV. We probably have all watched TV during the pandemic. I mean, idea that no one may else have done that in the pandemic might be funny, or just taking that moment of looking at spots in your set. We could take a moment and check in with the audience and know that they're with you and on the ride with you. I like that. That was just a moment that struck me as you could do that there. I also feel like there was a lot of good, getting a lot of material in, and I think that may have had a faster pace than maybe it needed at moments, because I lost a couple of really good jokes, like being a failure, the small business owner wants a failure, now it becomes work's the only place to sober up. That was funny. And I think because you were trying to get through all the material. So I feel like giving yourself just a little breathing space. And I know that you were looking at the camera. I love that. Taking a moment to make it a little bit more conversational and storytelling. I think that it's just about and this is going to happen. We're all going to have, I don't know if it was not nerves necessarily, just the pace of it, taking a breath, sort of relaxing the body, and just knowing we're here with you and sharing these really funny things that you've thought of or have experienced. Does that make sense? It's tweaking that energy down a little bit and keeping it going. But when you're talking about that cocaine bit, that's where we can see the contrast of why someone might be like, I'm talking fast and I'm doing this. I'm from New England, so I talk pretty fast. But there's also, this is just a gag, and I don't know if this is helpful or not, but like the whole idea of like, sorry, I have a sniffle, or like if you start to, during that time you're saying like, I don't understand why people think I'm doing cocaine. Like and it's not like it's just sort of an under thing, you could have qualities physically that you're showing that have nothing, that sort of support that idea, but you're not necessarily saying it, if that makes sense. That's an opportunity for that. When you're doing interactions with like your friend about the Walgreens, which I think is hysterical, because I thought the same thing because I got my vaccine at Walgreens, or my booster the other day at Walgreens. So that W, I was like, oh, look, it's the national symbol. So I like that. But having that moment of like talking to your friend, like seeing it in the moment, like, what's that? And that's a place where you can change the rhythm. And that's a storytelling element of that back and forth when you're exchanging with someone, or, the whole bit about your friends talking about you going to the bathroom a lot and they think that, you're smoking cocaine with them, or however you want to do your cocaine, I guess. So just options, right? I thought a really great place to delve into maybe that storytelling is washing the dishes, and like what else you would want the ghosts to do and things like that. And I thought that was a really interesting concept just to say. But like I think what we would say is taking the pace down, relaxing, taking moments to connect with the audience, and just having a more conversational thing. And when you're talking about, I just realized this, try and just realize it in the moment, making it, keeping it present. So I think that will just really aid in us landing all the writing that you have and the moments that you want, that that we're with you on that. Does that make sense? I hope.
It does.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Brian.
Woo, woo,
Thank
woo,
you.
woo. Yeah, give it up one more time for Brian. We're going to move on now to our next comedian. It's his first time on the show. He seems like a really nice guy, so I'm excited to see the kind of comedy stuff he's going to be bringing. Give it up for Anonymous. Woo, 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 woo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? First time here, like Tom said, so thanks for having me. Start off with a shout out to all my people in relationships, man. Shout out to all you guys. I'm supportive of relationships. I'm glad I'm in a relationship. Not just for me, honestly, but for humanity's sake. Like I was trash in my 20s. Absolutely trash. My 20s was nothing but Popeye's biscuit level thirst. I'm telling you, it was insatiable, and I mostly too came in a box. So you know where I'm coming from. I was trash. I vividly remember me and my cousins. It was two of them, so three in total, three of us all together. And I vividly remember us going down, like having like $4 between us, and just going down to the local Walgreens and just robbing that motherfucker blind. Like we used to take everything out of that Walgreens. Like seriously, we used to take everything off the wall. It used to just be greens after we left. And we found the hot sauce. If we found the hot sauce, we would have took the greens too. So nice. It was definitely something to behold. I just never understood how we didn't get caught. I really didn't get it. Like we were three fat black kids running out of Walgreens. It looked like we was trying to recreate a scene out of Nutty Professor, you know, just Hercules. That's what it was, man. I mean, I think the security guards had to see us. They had to think to themselves, like, look, if we don't catch them, the calories in double cheeseburger surely will. Burger King will judge them for their crimes. That's what it is. Yeah, man, since I've gotten into a relationship, I've definitely mellowed out. I've definitely become a little cooler, a little calmer. Like my motto now is like, I'm big on naps, but I don't sleep around. You know what I mean? Like I keep it together. Like at this point in my life, the only breasts and thighs that I'm willing to pay for is the number 2 at KFC. And that comes with a drink and a biscuit. So if you don't taste like baked beans and Sierra Mist, I can't go for it. You know what I mean? But it's great being committed. I always thought it was too much work to cheat. You know what I mean? Like you got to come up with all these fantastical characters and ideas and make sure the plots and storylines come together and make sense and continuity. It's damn near like directing a Marvel Avengers movie. Cheating on people these days. And I don't have the Kevin Feige budget. Okay, I can't do it. When they come up to me talking about who was you in the jewelry store with, Jerome? I'm like, jewelry store. Yeah, the diamonds. Girl, I was looking for Infinity Stones. I wasn't trying to. I was with Bruce Banner and Black Widow, and he was the only one trying to smash. I promise. I guarantee. But that's just what it's like trying to be me, man. I guess it's better to be me than to be Travis Scott. You know, his whole situation is terrible right now. I'm never been a fan of the man. This man with 2 first names, is he the one that everybody's going crazy over? In my day, we would never. Okay, we had Beyonce, we had Cher. People, we had first names. Okay, we didn't have this Travis Scott. Travis Scott, Michael Scott, same person to me. Just doofy. But that's just my opinion. You know, they kept it simple. But thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I'm Anonymous.
Woo! Give it up for Anonymous, everybody. Woo, woo, woo. All right. Again, always doing all the smoothness, all the transitions. It's always like this one part that also screws me up too. But that's okay. You know, we riff, we get over it, and that's what it is. But yeah, anyway. So, you know, I don't like have too many like notes for you. Like I just want to like give you a heads up. Like I've never been the type of person, like if I don't think you did, like if I don't think you need help, I'm not going to like try and contrive notes. I liked the, you know, I was awful in my 20s. Again, similar to like Brian's thing, you're doing the thing where it's like, you start with like a little bit of self-deprecation. It gets the audience on your side, and it makes us want to be your friend. At least, you know, unless they're assholes. But most audiences are nice. But you had an interesting joke as far as like the 2 came in a box. And I don't think you need to like necessarily change that joke at all. But like because, you know, the people watching the show maybe like considering being comedians themselves, I just want to make the distinction that like, saying all that and like saying that joke in the context of your overall like self-deprecating stuff, like you even followed it up with like I was trash, like that is one of the situations where like it's very clear when you're making that joke that you are not like being degrading to women or anything.
Right.
Like I thought it was great. And then, so I just wanted to point that out. I love the Walgreens that was just greens when I left. Like, oh my God, I love that.
Thanks.
And it goes great with like another theme of your set. Like it started off with the self-deprecation and then it was like relationships and food. And I thought that like you did a really great job as far as like you touched on those three, but it wasn't so structured like I'm going to talk about this topic, then I'm going to talk about this topic, then I'm going to talk about this topic. Like there was some interweaving going on, which I really appreciated. And the example of that again was from the just greens when I left right into the Burger King stuff. And I just like, I don't know, like there's something that's really resonating with me about the quote, the Burger King will judge them. Like it's very existential too, which of course is my vibe. But yeah, and then that was the moment where you brought it back to relationships and you made the comparisons of like, KFC and being in a relationship, they only like breast and thighs now. And then I also like the Diamonds versus Infinity Stones jokes. The Travis Scott stuff I thought was like, I think that you handled it actually like pretty carefully just because it was like such a tragic event and it's just like relatively fresh. I think that the things that you chose to talk about within that though, were fine. Like nobody's gonna be like upset about that. And like the two first names thing I thought was great. And then you made that allusion to Michael Scott. And since you had a little bit of room in your set, I would say maybe if you wanted to kind of what I was talking about before with like the analogy thing, if you want to think of more ways that Travis Scott is like Michael Scott, I would invite that. And I think that might be a place to expand. But that's it from me. And let me super smoothly.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for this set. This was a lot of fun and I really, really appreciate it. So I'm sorry, someone is trying to get a hold of me and I'm going to tell them no. So give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that nothing. Okay, there we go. All right. So sorry, mom, so I'm never fully off duty. I appreciate it. But I saw your whole set. It was awesome. I really had a lot of fun. I love how you just welcomed us and how you came into like it. I felt like we got a great sense of you right away. I really enjoyed. I love the whole Popeye thing. I thought it was fantastic. The biscuit was a biscuit level thirst.
Yeah.
The thing about it, and it's through your whole thing, it was the specificity. And I know that I'm supposed to focus on the performance, but I have to say like that added, when you get that specific, we all, and you hear those giggles because we all have that image. Like when you say things like Sierra Mist and baked beans, like that is specific. You didn't just say KFC, you said, and that adds, and that adds to performance. I really, really loved that whole thing. And it came in just the greens. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic.
Thank you.
The only thing that I would say, like Tom, I don't have a lot of notes. It's that, and because we have this little box that's your world, which is very different than being, in a live show gigging there. Your eyes were, I felt like connected to you, but I know I feel like you were reading, which is fine. You can read your set, but it's just a slight turn because I knew you weren't talking to me. I knew you were reading. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the placement of where you put your set. If it's right behind here and you're looking at the camera, it's that whole thing. We're still cheating, even in film, like you don't, unless you really want to look right at the camera. So I would say play with that. That was really my only major note about like performance wise. Cause I was just like, oh, if he just angled a little bit more, I would see his eyes fully. And then that would give me that extra connection through your set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the only thing that really bothered me, like a little bit. Like I was like, oh, because he's so funny and so good, and I feel connected. I just wanted to make that visual.
Okay.
Because we're already impeding so many ways to connect just through Zoom that this is it. This is your little box to connect with me. So I want you to make the most of it.
Absolutely.
I thought you had great segues. I loved your ease. I loved when you were telling the story about the diamond story and you were like, no, like you did a character.
Yeah.
It is a simple move and it is fantastic because right away you were a different person. Right away we knew what you were doing. And that's what I love when you're talking about different characters back and forth, making it a simple gesture, especially because you have this small box and that moment and just the tone of voice and the way you say it, it was great. And I just wanted to point that out because I think that's a great example of that. You also just kept coming back to ease of your segues. Even when you moved on to a new subject, you brought it, like you had just one thing you leaped off into the next that made sense. And so like, nice segue, I said from the Burger King, who judged you to Big on Naps. Like, I just thought you did it really well. And then you went back to like a reference for fast food, but it worked into that next segment. I'm gonna say, I was just saying nice back and forth and trying to smash. I'm a geek myself, so I love that. And I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, but that Marvel poster I had noticed before. I noticed.
Just a total nerd.
That's the thing is that, if you're leaving this on purpose or not, it is a clue. The audience is taking in your home or whatever you want to put in front of you. You can put up we have people who put up, the virtual backgrounds, or do you want, where you are in your home and you're showing everyone that it can enhance your set or not, So to me, I made note of the Marvel, and I mean, also I'm looking for that, but I was like, oh, and so when you brought up those jokes and the subjects, I was like, makes sense. I intentionally tie that in. So just thinking about that background and if it's going to assist you or not. And if you ever even want to refer to it, you're like, you may see, you don't have to, but knowing it's there to help you. Right. And I thought you did well with how you handled the Travis Scott thing. A little bit, there was a moment of, because it's rough. And I love that when you do something that could be, especially when it's very fresh, new, having a moment of something that might be a hard subject or a way you talk about it. You did a really good job of doing that and putting us in ease or talking about a different focus about that. And I appreciated that. So good handling of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
One more time. Give it up one more time for Anonymous, everybody. Thank you again so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Up next, we have another comedian. This one's a regular. You know what? You love her. She really doesn't need an introduction at all. Give it up for Carmia. Woo, 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 woo! Carmia, we don't have audio on you.
I'm going to rewind and go back in time. Rewind. When I asked my husband, can we talk? 2 things about to happen. Number 1, I'll say something important. Number 2, he'll say something wrong. This happens so much that now when I ask, can we talk? He just turns into a meerkat. He starts reading from a list of safe responses, a list I gave him. I understand. I'm here for you. Tell me more. When my mom had emergency surgery and I cried about it to him, he said, it'll be okay. Yeah, that's not on the list. Here's how we're going to do compassion when someone's sick. Read this. New list? No, my addendum for medical situations.
Oh.
It's just a picture of someone zipping their lips. Someone here is wondering, how come it'll be okay isn't on the list? That's what I tell people. Am I doing it all wrong? Yes, you are. The difference between you and me is that I paid $60,000 for a social work degree. You're welcome. By I paid, I mean my husband's mother bequeathed us enough to cover the student loans. Marriage is awesome. My kids have a lot of medical issues. All told, they've got epilepsy, Lyme disease, cradle cap, food allergies, pet allergies, asthma, eczema. Stop scratching. A broken arm, bedwetting life, swollen knee, itchy butt. Stop scratching. Pneumonia, in-ear surgery, strep of the blood, congenital cholesteatoma, ADHD, anxiety, and insomnia. That's what they've got. I've got a hospital parking space with my name on it. They spelled it wrong. Half the word is car. I've got membership points at the gift shop. Free Mylar balloons. I've got a punch card at the hospital. 9 paid procedures. Get the 10th one free. Going with tubes tied. Anonymous, you don't know, but I have 5 kids. Carmia is Hebrew for doesn't know when to stop. So I have to be organized to manage all my kids' medical appointments, but not everyone appreciates that. My middle schooler requested I stop writing our family's daily schedule because she wants more spontaneity. When she told me that, I had a really rude thought. It's a good thing she's the one with the epilepsy because nothing says surprise like seizures. You don't have to feel guilty about laughing about that. I have to feel guilty about telling you that. So food, I'm gonna need to see the one, like have you tell me when it's 1 minute left. Okay. Food allergies are the pits. Where my anaphylaxis at? Woot woot. I can't see anybody. Just shout out, shout out. No one? Enjoy your food. One son can't have peanuts, tree nuts, dairy, sesame, or eggs, but there is still a lot he can eat. He enjoys his own hair. And pencil erasers. When we tell people about our daughter's epilepsy, we get a range of responses. Most people don't know what to say. One guy actually said, "Our dog had that." A lot of folks.
1 minute.
A lot of folks just go meerkat. I give strangers the medical addendum now. Hi, our daughter has epilepsy. Before you respond, please refer to this pamphlet. My husband says, that's a good one. I read that last week. I think I'll stop there. Okay.
Woo, 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 woo.
Nice. Woo!
Awesome. Give it up for Amira,
awesome.
everybody. God.
Carmia.
Carmia. Wait, what did I say? Oh, shit.
It
Awesome.
It's like the same. It's like the same. It's assonance, whatever that is. You know.
All good.
Yeah.
Sorry, doing awkward transition.
I believe you. I believe in you, Tom. I believe.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. That's all I want. Anyway, so just to clarify one last time. Well, you know what? I'll just say that like you have like such a good like branding, and I know I say this most times, but like the other notes I've been giving tonight, as far as like this is what I mean, it's like similar to Anonymous, like topics weaving. The fact that you had like 2 back-to-back callbacks at the end, I thought was really strong. And you also, you brought back Meerkat and you brought back the addendum. So both of those I thought were great. And you also started really strong. And I want to point out that like the joke about saying something important, he says something wrong, is like that works so well because it's a great introduction to you, but it's also like comically funny, like from a technical standpoint, because of the direct contrast of those 2 statements. So just educational tidbit again for why that joke works. The zipping lips good. Oh yeah, so you go into like the 60K for social work.
Yeah.
Your degree, and then the bequeath the student loans, and I just like I'm so glad that yeah, that was so funny. I just like that joke so much. And like, oh, great to be married. I think that that is an area where like you could also potentially explore, especially because I feel like, especially now, a lot of people can relate to having like tons of student loan debt, and it doesn't have to be like its own thing. But you could, to kind of steal a word from your set, give it an addendum and maybe like a rule of threes or something, more comparisons of like how you wasted a ton of money on education. I thought the disease thing was great again. I like how you switched it up with like the giving you kind of a break with the like stop scratching yourself. What that's what the phrase was. Yeah. I thought it was very clever. It kind of like gives you a mental break to catch up instead of like that. I appreciate it when you can do it, but like having the long run of all the diseases is like difficult. And I feel like that was a good solution without breaking up the pacing, which is really what we're following for. And then oh yeah, and I think that you followed up the seizure joke very well with then like also clarifying like I'm the one who feels guilty about it, not you. Like that was just like a smart move. And then this was another area I thought that you could expand on because I am a sicko. But like there's just something that gives me a lot of joy at the idea of like, and I think that this could be, especially since you have 5 kids, this could be like a whole nother like section, if not a whole set in itself. But if you just want to roast your kids, like I think that's fucking hilarious. And just like really sow the seeds now for their trauma later and the cost of that therapist. But overall, I mean, you know, we love you here at Too Funny Feedback, so I'm just gonna shut up and give it over to Lisa. Hey.
Hey, Camilla. Great set. I have to say, I feel like with all the culmination of all the notes like that you've taken and you go and you really do appreciate it so much, you know, see you work on them and I feel like to incorporate notes that we give, and it's so wonderful that I feel like this was really, I feel like a culmination of all of it. Like it was, I feel like it was your strongest set I've seen. It was really awesome. And you have really strong sets. So like, I have to say the pacing was mwah. Like you hit the beats. I don't know if you felt any different tonight, because sometimes you feel, you know, but you had found a rhythm that was super conversational, but also very specific and like purposeful for yourself, for all those jokes to work. So it was intentional, but it was excellent. It was excellent. And stuff that I had heard before landed even harder. And I was cracking up. I mean, I know you probably heard me like just losing it on, you know, the seizures thing. Cause I wrote great delivery. Cause it was perfect. Like a lot of these things were always really good, but tonight they really, I find like they landed in a way that was solid through the whole thing. I don't know if you felt that. I hope you did, but it definitely came across that way. Loved the rewind at the beginning, by the way. You didn't let it throw you because you could have let it throw you. A lot of people, that's enough to be like, what? Just, you know, like I'm on mute. Oh no, you know? And you did a great thing where you're like, let me just rewind. I love how you did like even a hand motion and then you just went right into it. Yeah, you did. But it was so in the moment and wonderful. And it was just like, oh, this just happened. And then you didn't let it, I don't know if it almost released you into being like, well, I'm just going to go. It was great. And it was perfect for that moment. I loved the whole meerkat. I think what happened tonight, and I guess the thing to me that I noticed was that things that always need that little extra beat got it tonight, and things that maybe needed a little less at times. It's just like that pin prick, you know, you're looking, it's still funny, you're gonna get the thing through the hole, but when you land it right in the right spot, it's the best. And that's what I feel like tonight happened, is that things that were just waiting for just a half second more, not even, got it. Things that wanted just a little bit less, got it. And I through the whole thing, wrote nice beats. I like the $60,000. Yeah, I paid. You're welcome. Marriage is wonderful. Yes, bequeathed. I loved all of that. The scratching. So you changed the list, and and I love that you said stop scratching, build it. That's the one thing I would say is build how you say it. And I have a small human next to me. I'm so sorry that this happened.
Mom,
Yes.
how much time left until it's been an hour?
All right. Sorry. I apologize. Go. It'll be a little bit longer. I'll be there.
I
Have
want
a Paw Patrol
I
episode.
wanted to read.
Okay. Wani, go. Go take the tablet. Here you go. This is Mothering 101. All right.
Why did you give me your phone?
Go, Mom. Go. I only have one. How did you get away from 5?
Time for half a Paw Patrol episode, girl.
Well, she doesn't have access to my TV upstairs. All right. So there you go, Lula. Just go. Thank you. I love you very much. I'll be putting you to bed soon. Okay. This is
build like different things I'm telling them, or
No, build
an
the
intent?
volume and the pace.
Uh-huh.
Stop scratching the first time. It's like someone keeps interrupting you're trying to tell you're trying to tell a list, right? This is a list thing. This is a performance thing. When you're doing a list, you're like da 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 da, you know. But if you get interrupted, it's like stop.
Yeah.
Like I just did now. Like go. You can build it. So the first time they do it, yes, you've annoyed me. You've told me yes, and you keep the list. Again, stop. You know, it's building that tension.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that, and it doesn't have to be like in anger, but it's sort of stop. You know,
Mhm.
that would help. And I think just that's the only place I would say there would be a hair of there was stop scratching. I love that Tom pointed out it does give you a moment to catch up with a list. But when you came back and took a hair, you could jump right back into the list a little bit quicker, I would say, after the stop scratching. It's sort of part of your list, like stop. Like you know what's always going on. Does that make sense? So I love the whole list about the hospital and what you have. It was fantastic. The one thing about the tubes tied, I think you can either make that an aha moment or wait or like really excited to tell us, well, I'm going to get this next. You know, that there, I think, is a moment you can explore. Like I said, I loved the whole seizure delivery, and Tom is right when you say I have to feel guilty thinking about, you know, saying that I've said it. I love that you brought back the meerkat. The meerkat was brilliant. Just enough. And we do that. And I thought it was really, I know you decided, I don't know if you intended to end on, I read that last week. That was really good. It was a really strong ending actually. And just saying, I think, you know, that was fun. It was a way to button it all up. So that's my notes and a cameo from Lula. So there you go.
Thank you.
Woo, 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 woo. All right. Give it up one more time for Carmia, everybody. Did I say it wrong again? I'm so
No, you did great.
paranoid now. Okay,
great.
God.
You did great.
All right. Smooth transition. Next up, we have another comedian. He's been coming pretty regularly. He's a cool guy. Please give it up for Wesley Williams.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know this is feedback for the comedians, but even if this cuts into my time, I just wanted to give feedback at how great this mic is. This format, I don't want to go so far as to say I'm going to cry, but it's so beautiful. It's better than Zoom. It feels like, so I appreciate that. I'm happy that comedy is still on. I was going to say Zoom on this format. I'm glad that we're still doing it on the computer. I feel like it's here to stay. That there's comedy in the clubs, but there's comedy here. It translates. It works. Not every form of entertainment works on Zoom. Over the pandemic, I saw Barnum and Bailey actually had a Zoom show, and I saw a human cannonball destroy his kitchen cabinets. So not everything translates, but I'm happy that we're sort of moving out of the pandemic. That the travel restrictions they're being lifted. I mean, for me, it was getting to the point where I was watching PBS and I saw a commercial for where in the duplex condo is Carmen Sandiego. So it was even affecting. It was affecting everybody, and so I am in New York City, and so I'm trying to. I haven't traveled too far, but I've traveled a bit. I went to a town in Long Island called Port Washington. Beautiful town, horrible people. And that's not even my opinion. That's as you enter the town, there's actually a sign that says that. I'm not sure if that's a Chamber of Commerce. I'm looking at myself on the camera. I know a lot of people said I look like Ricky Gervais. I'm not sure if that's a. I think I feel like I'm starting to see it, but the last place I went before the pandemic, the last place I went was Ireland, and it was so beautiful. I'll never say that the Irish drink too much. I'll never say that. I will say that the Starbucks opens at 5 p.m. for some reason. That was my observation. So one thing about me, I wore a beret when I was in high school. and I had a nickname. It was Che Guevara was my nickname. I revolted against good fashion sense, so that was my legacy. But I am getting older. There's things that are sort of letting me know that I'm getting older. I was on Spotify and I'm trying to learn, keep up with the new music, and I typed in Billie Eilish and immediately I got a message back from Spotify that said, "We think you mean Billy Idol." So I'm not sure if that's an algorithm, but I'll close just by saying, and not to get too political, but at least with the friends I know, everybody's in their own media bubbles. I have friends that only watch CNN, and I do have friends that they watch Fox, and I have another friend, he only watches WWE Network, and it's a problem because I asked that friend what he thinks about the January 6th insurrection committee, and he thought I was talking about a tag team. So I just wanted to. I'll leave it there, but I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Woo, 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 woo. All right. Give it up for Wesley Williams, everybody. Here we go. Again, smooth as always. Literally without fail. I'm gonna have to take some time with this program at some point. But here we go. Good stuff. I think, like always, we actually have some people commenting tonight, and Sam saying, love the slow boil. And yeah, your writing had a natural pace to it throughout the night, and like it was a very nice ebb and flow of sort of like the build up and the breakdown, and not necessarily like it was almost like more like, and I think this is a good thing, like more of a storytelling perspective. And again, like when I think of like producing shows, I appreciate when like people come with like different types of pacing, because I normally have to like work it into the set list that way. Like not everybody can be talking at 10 miles a minute through the entire show. But also just like always start by complimenting your host. That's always the best move. Always cry from happiness. I thought that you started off strong. You had a few bits, like the human cannonball and the Carmen San Diego bit was just like very nostalgic for me. Like that was my entire like computer class growing up. And then I don't know. There's something too funny about like just the idea of like of the very few places you've gone on vacation since we're allowed to again is like beautiful town, horrible people. So I wonder if like there maybe could be more mined into on that subject and just like that's even somewhere where you can get like really absurd with how the people are horrible. Or if sometimes I'll experiment with like thinking of like a different genre of like film and like putting my premise in that world for a second. Maybe like if they're horrible, but if they're like horrible in the way that like I don't know, like if it was like Paris, I would be like they're all horrible, and then the genre that I force them in is like film noir. There's just cigarette butts everywhere. Everybody's like telling themselves asides. But and then you also had like a good moment, and it's good that I'm hesitant about this, but I was like, I wasn't sure like if there was a moment of distraction where you maybe lost your place for a second for the Ricky Gervais comparison, but nonetheless, like the fact that you have that in your back pocket, at least while you're still doing this format to fall back onto. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like if you're going to live open mics, just put like a mirror in the far back of the room and just be like, "Hey, see." But no. And then the Ireland trip, the Starbucks open at 5 p.m. I thought was strong. I just like I freaked out though when you like fucking because two things about the whole like a little fact about me or whatever is like already like people are going to listen again. I think that one of the things that people sometimes will forget in comedy is that like at the end of the day we're building a relationship with the audience, so the more information you can share about yourself, the more the audience will like you, again unless they're assholes. But yeah, I just like fucking freaked out. Like what a fucking golden gem to just like come out of fucking nowhere with about me. I wore a beret in high school. Like, oh my God. That had me killing. And then the Che Guevara for fashion sense was a great lead up from it. I think you can go more into like different ways the algorithm has indicated you're old. Like you don't have to like, again, make it a whole bit, but maybe a rule of threes or something could be fun. And then I almost like wanted it to end on like, you know, we're in such a divided world. I got the people who only watch CNN, the people who only watch Fox, and the people who only watch WWE. Like I almost wanted like that to be the button because I think that is such a strong joke, and you always like. And I'm not even saying like maybe eliminate the other part. I don't remember how it was worded exactly, but maybe that's a section where like you could just like flip them around so that you're ending on the high, and maybe it's like a order of operations thing. But that's it from me. Take it away, Lisa.
Hey, thanks so much. Enjoyed this a lot. I really love. Thank you, first of all, I wrote thank you. That was very nice to the compliments. We appreciate it very much. It's a great way to start any set. But we really appreciate that. But I really loved your tone. You're very conversational, and I really enjoyed that. Everyone, and the newer people who haven't heard me say it, I'm going to say it. I say it every episode. POV, so point of view. You have this little box, and this is you get to control it, and you get to bring whatever vibe you want. You get to put whatever you want behind you. You get to let you know. So you have a lot more control in the situation in a Zoom mic than I feel like you would, except for your jokes and sort of what's going, and getting on stage in the virtual world versus like, being in the club. So you get to sort of create the atmosphere you want. So I really like this whole conversational thing. I thought you did a really, really good job with that. Oh, someone just told me, by the way, do a shot when Lisa says POV. Yes, that's my thing. Drinking. Yeah, we must be popular now to drink. So but I really enjoyed that. I said, and I liked, you have a really, because of the conversational feel, it's like I almost don't even know when the joke or the punchline is going to emerge, and then it does. And you're like, oh, there it is. So, and I think that's fun. And but one thing I love about this mic is that everyone does bring such different POV. I'm going to get someone really drunk tonight, hopefully. So not myself, but someone else. And so, but I wanted to acknowledge that because I felt like I got a sense of who you are in a short 5-minute set, virtually. And that's important, establishing that. I loved the whole, the human cannonball and destroying his kitchen cabinets. I love the specificity of that. And the image can be very conjured very specifically. I love the where in the world is the Carmen Sandiego. You said duplex / condo. I would shorten just duplex or condo. Like you can make a because it just to edit it down. I think it will land it a little. Just me, because duplex are the condo apartment complex maybe, but making it one specific thing versus sort of like the slash thing that it is. That just hit me, but I love that. Beautiful town, horrible people, wonderful. I would love an example of that, possibly. This was beautiful. They were horrible, like about it or something like that. And also that it's Long Island, and I lived in New York for a while, New York City for about 12 years. And so I also know the stories of, you're going on Long Island, there's that whole thing. But I thought maybe that'd be a great place to put a rule of 3, possibly, of 3 things that were or something like that. Duplex combos makes sense. Or anyway, I'm reading the stuff. I get to see the actual streaming people who are watching its comments for the first time, so it's a lot of fun. Sorry. Tracksuit. When you said Ricky Gervais, you're wearing a tracksuit. It made me think. I was like, yes, I see it. I see it. Because of the tracksuit. So it's sort of this costuming when you think of it. I mean, it's just your wardrobe, but essentially when you're going to any club, you're really thinking about what you're wearing and how it's going to support your set. Was that intentional?
No.
That's my question. See? I was like, oh my God, he's wearing the tracksuit. That's totally Ricky Gervais. So I don't know. See, maybe it's unconscious, but there it is.
Yes.
And then there was this moment, I'm going to know that pause, and I wasn't sure if you lost your place or there was a moment of that. And I would just say, because you're so conversational, it really didn't, it didn't derail or anything, your jokes and coming back into it, but it was a sort of a pause of, where are we at? So I would just make sure you're going over your segues or figuring out or having that thing that back pocket joke that if you find yourself with that long pause, that's where you're going to insert that, and something that you kind of always know with lands that you can always bring into it's sort of its own thing that will sort of be a building block between another segment when you get there. The beret thing was hysterical, and I'm going to tell a little bit about Tom. Tom loves a beret because I brought him back one from Paris and he was very excited. So he has a beret for me. So I was just lost it. So, but I love that whole idea of beret. I love your things are very visual and revolted against good fashion sense, and that's pretty fun. I almost wanted to know why you were why a beret, but maybe the mystery is interesting. I think it's too. I really thought that was fun. And the whole WWE thing at the end. And I don't know if you want to, and this is a way, the Fox, and then, I'm sorry, I don't remember the middle one. There's a good rule of 3 here. You can, even the way you say it or the way there is this person or that person, then WWE, especially people aren't super familiar with it. I mean, most people are, maybe they're not, maybe they're just watching Fox News or WWE, but I love the whole tag team thing. And I feel like there's a lot of fun maybe ideas or examples about how one subject of news would be received through those 3 different channels. There's a way to act that out or be that person. There's opportunities for sort of delving into that. But I really enjoyed that whole conversational, very easy feeling. I was like, oh, we're having a cup of coffee, fun. So I'd say keep that up, and your POV, someone else drink. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give it up.
All right. Give it up one more time for Wesley Williams. Cool. Up next on the list, she's our ambassador from Canada. Give it up for the fantastic Desiree Walsh. Woo.
Hi. Yes, that's right. I am Canadian. There's no joke there at this point because we are basically like neck and neck with the Americans for COVID. Yeah, which is quite disappointing for me because it was pretty fun to be on my high horse for a little bit. Yeah. They say like you should never look down on somebody, but damn it, it is fun. It's really fun. Yeah, I miss it. I hope both countries get back. Oh, I didn't start my timer. Shit.
I got you.
Yeah. God bless like comedians who can do this drunk and high. I am slightly tired and hungry and I am struggling. Just struggling. Yeah. So I am Canadian. I said that already. I don't know why I'm saying it again. I'm so tired. Yeah. It was my birthday a few weeks ago. Actually several weeks ago, but I really like this joke, so we need to keep this going. And one of the things I like to do on my birthday is think about what my parents were doing when they were my age. So they had 2 kids, which isn't all that impressive because I'm a twin. So they got a 2-for-1 deal. And then they had 2 cars and a house and like full-time jobs with benefits. And I'm similar in that I do have a full-time job with benefits. I do not have a house. I have something similar to a cardboard box underneath the Gardner, which is a highway in Toronto. I'm not sure why I used that reference in a largely American audience, but I did. Yeah, and I don't have kids, but I do have a Keurig coffee machine, which is basically the same in that if anything ever happened to that Keurig, I would be devastated. Just devastated. Also, not unlike meat children, a Keurig is very messy and it makes a lot of noise. It does. And also I find myself thinking about the Keurig when I'm outside of the home away from it and hoping to God it did 1 load of laundry at least. And just like a meat child, it never ever has. But I am told by all of my friends that have children and my parents, it is not the same, Desiree. Please stop bringing your Keurig to the pool parties. But I mean, who doesn't want a steaming hot cup of coffee on a 90-degree Fahrenheit day? Because I know my audience, they're Americans. That's like 36 Celsius or 40 Celsius. Yeah, but the point is I am the hero of the pool party because everyone loves a coffee. Everyone does. Another thing I really like to do on my birthday, because I'm a masochist, is I like to call my mom. And particularly on my 30th birthday, I called my mom and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sad. I'm 30." And like I live in this shitty apartment, as you can see it. Like I'm single and I don't feel good about myself. And my mom said, "When I was 30, both of you and your sister had the flu and you threw up on me, and then your dad passed out on the lawn. Do you know how hard it is to make a grown man look like a lawn ornament in September? There's not even a festive holiday then. So I don't feel sorry for you." Little Miss sleeps alone, vomit free. Yeah, that joke. How much time do I have? I can't see sad clock.
35 seconds.
Okay, good. I'll end it there.
Woo. Give it up for Desiree, everybody. Wow. Also, good for me to know that I'm the only one who sees it when I do the screen like that.
Yeah,
Okay, cool, cool,
yeah.
cool.
I don't.
No, I'm glad because if nobody said anything, I would never know.
Yeah.
But 1 second, let me just. There we go. So we love you here.
Thanks.
I like
love
the
you too.
additions you did for like neck and neck with COVID, and
Yeah.
especially the added on bit about the high horse and it's really fun to look down on others. It's just you do it in a way that's just so charming, and it's very. I'm a little bit infuriated by it because I wish I had that quality, but no. Again, like already just like making the audience wanna be your friend. And you kind of do it like it's not necessarily like a self-deprecating thing, but just like acknowledging how tired you are. And I think that a better way to say it is probably just that you have a good way of like acknowledging like the moment for what it is, because you also kind of do it every time that you kind of like make a small mistake or flub your set. Like the move for everybody that they need to do is just like acknowledge it and move on. Like, and the way Desiree does it is such that like she makes it funny. It's almost like another joke every time she messes up because she gets another laugh from me from it. And so like one moment was like the repeating Canadian thing. And it is good that you have the comment about like, I don't know how other comedians can do this drunken high. Like I can barely do this when I'm tired. It's just like good to have in your back pocket, but you're also doing good when you've already used it and have to kind of riff a little bit.
Okay.
And I almost think that like maybe like that would be a good exercise for you. Like maybe get used to like riffing in those moments just to work on that, improv skill. I think birthday a few weeks ago is great. And like, yeah, you kind of made it another joke that like the longer it gets from your birthday, I feel like that part's just gonna get stronger.
It's very far away now.
What did sorry, I wrote the note twins not impressive. I'm pretty sure that was like about a joke that I liked.
Yeah. At the beginning, when I'm talking about my parents, I say like they had 2 kids.
Oh, yeah, all the things that
Isn't
they've
that
accomplished that you
impressive?
haven't. Yeah.
'Cause I'm a twin.
Yeah. Because they got that like, oh yeah, I was kind of missing, maybe I just missed it, but I was missing a little bit for that section, the 2-for-1 deal joke that you normally do. Yeah, I think like that whole section I think is an area you already have a good bit there, but I think you can even like find more stuff that you're doing less well than your parents were at your age. And maybe I'm just like in a mood tonight, but I'm assuming that everybody also enjoys it when I hear somebody else voice that they are having similar feelings that I am not accomplished. Anyway, Keurig Coffee Machine, still glad at how much of your set this Keurig has taken over. Like I love it. I fucking love it so much.
It's really
the only like
Keurigs
section
and Uncrustables.
Yeah, Keurigs and Uncrustables. You can dip the Uncrustable into the coffee you get from the
You
Keurig,
can.
but probably tastes gross. But
It does.
nonetheless, I've got to focus. So the only thing that I noticed tonight that you might want to experiment with is just switching the order to Keurig coffee machines, like my kid, messy, makes a lot of noise, and would be devastated if something happened to it. And unfortunately, it's kind of getting into Lisa's territory. But I think that like if you have messy and makes a lot of noise as the first 2 things, those are like kind of more in the same tone and mood and like more traditional things you would think of like people complaining about their kids. And then the last one, like devastated by something would happen, would be a nice contrast.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, again, just like pointing out, your audience with the Fahrenheit was good. And then also I think that you can get like an extra mini joke out of that, just like pushing that like, and you know what? I'll even tell it to you in Celsius because again, you're American and I know you don't know how to do the conversion. So that could be fun. And then like the new stuff about your mom and like the lawn ottoman that is your passed out father, I thought was very good, very strong. And I think I'm actually like pretty good with it. Like it was a very strong joke. So I think that ending your set with it was a good move.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm normally like more hesitant to say that stuff for like a regular who has a lot of strong material, and I know it's a newer bit, but like I'm saying it anyway. I'm saying it anyway.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Take it away,
Bye.
Lisa.
Yeah, it was a really strong set. Thank you. Pretty much, I'm gonna probably echo some of the stuff that Tom said.
Okay.
But I loved the update on the joke. I wrote a lot of updates. Like I feel like you're always tweaking, which I think is such a positive thing.
Yeah.
You took it in another direction of like we're not on. I was Canadian, but we're neck and neck in COVID. And I love like the high horse, but it's fun to look down. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really nice update on that joke. And because I didn't expect that tonight either. And I've seen it a few times. It was a lot of fun. And I enjoyed that. It's fun. I love the whole I'm so tired. And I kept saying you caught yourself. So I feel like what happened tonight, which was great, because this is one of your like super strengths, is you in the moment are like, why did I say that? I'm going to change that. Or you acknowledge things and you catch yourself all night.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is it makes it funnier even, right? Because you do such a good job of setting that up or conveying that you're so present that you're like commenting on your set yourself, which is fantastic. So I'm making acknowledgement of it because I think it's a really good example of that versus like, don't change it, but you do have a knack, and Tom, for doing that, for staying in spontaneous and being able to sort of laugh at yourself and make us laugh even harder when you do that. I was saying I'm trying to read this, actually several weeks ago. Oh, the actual several weeks ago. I loved that sort of update. Another update that was like, it would, and like that you're being in, because we already want to be your friend, but that you're even being more honest with us. Like, turns already down. I'm going to show you everything. You're like, oh no, actually but I really like this joke, so I want to keep it in there. It just,
Yeah.
I really loved that. It's like a little confessional moment that serves you well. So I love the updates. So I feel like that's like you updating the set or the joke itself to make it more present, which is, I think, one of your strong suits as a comedian, is always staying really strong and present. I loved your whole devastated thing about the curing tonight, and it landed differently for me because the way you said devastated, just devastated. And I was like, oh my, like I felt it in your voice, the way like, and we'll say this with like voiceover work that I've done and studied. When you say the word it makes you feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happens. It's sort of the same thing when you're like, delicious, sumptuous thing. Like you make the word sound differently as you're experiencing the feeling that word means. And that's what you did, if that makes sense. And I think that really strengthened the set in that moment there. And you caught yourself again. It says, it could probably like, and you can use that whole thing of I'm tired, how, through the whole thing, it really does serve you. I love the whole masochist, because calling your mother on your birthday. It's not like I can relate. Okay. Yeah, of course. But I really loved that. I thought that was fun. It was a great way to lead into that. And I just thought it was a really fun. And I echo what Tom said about enjoying that new sort of part of the joke. About him being the lawn ornament and how do you decorate? There's no appropriate holiday really, So, and I feel like there's some stuff to mine maybe there about how that happened with the lawn ornament, or what,
Yeah.
what he could be if he was a lawn ornament, like, what gnome would that be? So, but it was a lot of fun. So thank you again for always being our Canadian ambassador, making me laugh. That was really fun tonight.
No problem.
Yay.
Thank you. I like this mic.
Give it up for Desiree, everybody. All right, all right, all right. We have one final comedian tonight. She comes to us. Oh my God, I forget. I'm pretty sure it's Philly. I'm pretty sure. She'll probably correct me. It's like Philly or Boston. She'll correct me when she gets up here. Give it up for Amira Wilson. Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you. It's Boston. Okay. So, how is everyone?
Woo!
Ooh, all right.
My therapist told me to ask, but I don't care. Oh, that's good. I can hear people are still there, but I don't see anyone. All right. So I was hosting an open mic, and there was a guy that I was talking to, and he decided, and then like it didn't work out, and he still came, and I thought it would be really nice if I made him feel dumb, and looked up a really big word for funny. And that I didn't even know 2 seconds before he went up, and he's like, "Man, I feel dumb," and I'm like, "Mission accomplished." So he didn't come back, but it's okay. That's the plan. So I've been talking to this Moroccan guy, and then he doesn't text me that much and stands me up and just acts like he's too busy for me or whatever. And then just tried to get another date, and I was like, well, you didn't really apologize for standing me up. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry, can we move forward? I'm like, no, I don't know if I can move forward without chocolate. He's like, okay, fine. What type of chocolate? And I'm like, well, Godiva's on sale right now, $4.99 at Walgreens. I'll forgive you instantly, but if you get me Hershey's, it'll take 3 to 5 business days. Yeah, he didn't come back. Guys don't like being told what to do. So I was talking to my family about him, just my dad and my sister. And just before I was talking to them, my sister was on the phone with my mom, and she forgot to hang up. And my mom just stayed on the phone for 20 minutes, silent. So she's like, why don't you just call him back? You're getting older. You want to have kids, don't you? I'm like, not with this loser. I was like, Mom, don't you think I deserve better? And she's like, no. Thanks. I mean, I've done everything that I can to find a Muslim. I've posted pictures of me when I was skinny. I've posted pictures of the food I cooked. I've posted pictures of me jet skiing. I'm fun. Photoshop is great, but it doesn't work. I've done everything but go to a mosque where they all are. Or pay for a dating app. I guess I can go to the Middle East. I don't know. All right. So I was doing this political work in Maine, just collecting signatures and stuff so we can get a bill passed on a ballot. And my mom was like, you shouldn't do that. You might go to jail. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And she's like, yes, I don't know much, but I know you will go to jail. I'm like, all right. Well, I made almost $700 in one day. And she's like, wow. Okay, you can do it. I guess that's the limit. You can just get paid $700 and you can go to jail. Not enough for bail money, but whatever. I actually didn't get paid yet. The guy, he does cocaine, and I didn't know this until I got to Maine. So he just keeps putting off paying us, and I'm like, can you just not spend all my money on cocaine, please? Spend other people's money. So pretty much I'm a volunteer and I'm going to heaven. I don't know. So my eyes are really watery, so I decided to go see an allergist to find out why. And she said it's because I'm sad. So I'm going to open up my own business. It's going to be called Amira's Tears. It's going to be organic, non-GMO, gluten-free tears for 3 ounces. It's $30. And if I ever run low on supplies, I'll just talk to my dad. And if for some reason he's nice, I can just open up a dating app. Or talk to my mom because she says I don't deserve better. I mean, anyone in my family, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna end on something really. Nope, I'm done. Okay, thank you.
Woo, 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 woo. Yes, give it up for Amira, everybody. Woo, 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 woo. And yeah, just doing all the normal things and cool. Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Thank you.
You know, and also, yeah, you've just been coming up with some like new stuff lately, and I'm really digging it. Because I feel like for me at least, like I'm just gonna go through the highlights. But like the Photoshop is such a good joke, and I'm gonna say pacing, but don't worry, I'm not like stealing Lisa's territory. Like we're fine. But like you know, the pacing and the writing of it too was just very good, and it's almost like the way that you list the other things. It's almost as if you are like putting a pause in it through the way that it's written. So I really appreciated that part of it. Can't move forward without chocolate. I thought maybe could like maybe go again a little bit more absurdist, like weird stuff. Like again, the same idea of like if you want to make it up for me, you have to do something, but maybe the things that you're asking him to do for you are like a little bit weirder. I did have a question though about one of the initial bits, which was the one about the comedian. I wonder, like, and maybe I missed it, but is there a way you can like, before you go to like the making him feel awful, just like a little bit of like quick exposition about why he's a bad guy and deserves this treatment?
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. I was just like, oh god. And then like also like you could make it a thing if you're just like playing the role of like an evil comedy show host. But for that, just like make sure you have like more bits in that theme. And then that would be really fun. And I think I mentioned last time too, and I mentioned it tonight with like the idea of Carmia roasting her kids, but like I sometimes joke that like what a twist would it be if like one day we had this feedback mic and then boom, you thought you were getting constructive criticism and it's a roast. But like that's kind of what I mean in like the theme of like evil comedy show host. Let's see. Okay, so and then another suggestion I have is the joke for the oh no, sorry, this wasn't a suggestion. I was saying I like that, you know, going to the mosque is the equivalent of like using a paid dating app. And then for the oh, here it is. It was the allergist joke. So the thing about needing to re-up your supplies, you said you could go. I'm going to do what I did before, which is just like kind of rearrange the ladder. And I would suggest if you want to try it, be like, you know, if I ever run out of supplies, you know, I could always go to my dad or my mom or open up a dating app. And then I think maybe even potentially have the tag and like call back to earlier and be like, don't worry, the dating app's still free. Like just because you mentioned it earlier, just a suggestion. But man, $700 in one day. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I think there's something there maybe about like, you know, it's a good job when you can pay your own bail by the end of it or something. Like, I don't know. But there's like just something about how like it could potentially like offset being in jail. I don't know. Nonetheless, always a pleasure to have you. Solid stuff was still solid, which is why I'm like not gonna waste your time by telling you how amazing you are again. That's a different kind of show that I want to be a guest on, where people just like compliment me for an hour. But nonetheless, give it up for Lisa. Woo, 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 woo. I don't know why we're applauding for
Calling me? That's fine. I'll take it.
I did that.
I need it. I have a small child to put to bed after this, so this is good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Amir, I loved how you started it off tonight. That was great. Because we've heard so many like evolutions of the joke, and I love it because you just went back and the delivery was really good. But I don't care. My therapist from last week. It was just, it was good. It was just solid land, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, because something with like Desiree, how like the Canadian thing, like how I've heard it before. It's sort of how you start off a lot of several of your sets, but you keep reinventing it and keeping it fresh, which is awesome. So thank you. I liked the nice mission accomplished move, like an evil supervillain. And it's funny because Tom brought up that like evil comedy villain. And I know, and this is just because I've heard so many sets and you talk about your dad, you could be like, or be my dad, maybe like how just acting like your father or something, like your mom or whatever. I enjoyed the whole chocolate thing a lot. I liked the whole, the ease, a lot of fun, a lot of giggles, which I just love your demeanor through that. It can make someone get drunk and say POV. It's funny when you were telling me this, and I didn't catch it last time to talk about, I've heard this joke before with your mom not getting off the line. Mm-hmm. Is it landlines? Are you guys on a landline?
No, it's just a cell phone. She's just really quiet. And my sister forgot to end, and she just stayed on the phone.
Like so she's on a phone and you guys were in a physical conversation and she forgot to shut off the phone? I'm just sorry.
Forgot. Yeah.
Okay.
My mom purposely stayed on because she's lonely and wanted to hear my sweet voice.
Correct. It just made me think of like, and because this shows how old I am, that I was like, wait, is Mira the last person I know that has a landline? 2 of them, 2 phones? Like I was like, it just was an interesting image to me. So that's why I'm glad maybe it wasn't as clear that she didn't hang up the phone. Your sister didn't hang up the phone. I thought your mom, it was like staying on. She didn't know to hang up. Anyway, thank you for clearing that up for me. Sorry, but I was like, if that's an interesting idea about who has a landline? But I love the whole conversation with your mom. Don't you feel like I deserve better? And she's like, no. I thought that was really well delivered and really there was a lot of good lists in this with the whole. I love the Photoshop. I wrote, I'm fun, and then wrote Photoshop is great. I loved how you brought in the jet ski and you took a moment and you're like, I'm fun. What it did, and I think this is what Tom's talking about with that delivery, it sort of broke it up, and then like the Photoshop thing, that comment was even more unexpected. It's sort of like you're like feeling good about the things you're posting, and then you're like, and you just sort of throw that in, and it was delivered really well tonight. The dating app thing, I really liked that. I don't remember hearing that before, and that was fun, and one that you don't pay for. I enjoyed that too. Or I guess I could just, go to the Middle East too. I thought that was hysterical. I really liked that. There's a lot of good rule of threes, or like a sort of, you're making us think you're going to do one way and you sort of drop it in the other way. And you do it in this very endearing, fun manner as you're sort of like saying sort of like, be a little harsh, your parents, talk about things, but it's a different way of doing self-deprecation through your parent. It is fun. Love what you're saying. I'm just basically a volunteer. I loved the whole allergist. My eyes are watery. I really didn't expect that. I was like, oh, my eyes are watering because I'm sad. So I feel like there's a lot of diversion in your comedy here. And I thought that was a really great example of that. And I think the reason, and I guess this is an overall note, so I can stop saying it again and again, is you did a really good job of just being sweet and sort of saying it and then sort of turning our heads the other way. And there's a joke and it's very funny. So I really like that. I will echo and support what Tom said, that whole list about like the mom, the dad, the dating app, and don't worry, you're not paying for it, like kind of thing. I think that would be clever, and maybe add to that, just a suggestion. But it works. So but I felt like this was a really strong set. It was really fun. It was sweet, but it was also had that, I feel like, signature move that you do of like getting us to be very, like, oh, sweet, nice thing. And then the undercutting of it right then and there. So thank you so much tonight. I really just had fun.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, give it up one last time for our headliner, Amira. Woo, 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 woo! And I'm also going to be taking us out. A big thank you to my co-host Lisa, to the comedians for being so open to feedback, and of course to our awesome audience. Again, if you want to support the stream, you can do so at districtcomedy.io. And if you want to be on the show, you can sign up using that same link. See you next week and have a good night. Goodbye.